The purpose of this video is to demonstrate one of the unique features of the Oak Ridges Moraine Groundwater Program. I'm going to start by going to oakridgeswater.ca, which is our public website, and click on Maps up here along the top menu on the right-hand side, second from the right. This will open up the GeoCortex web-based mapping portal. It takes a few seconds, and you can see here there's a disclaimer that we'll click through, and then we'll see this map that we've seen before with the Oak Ridges Moraine Groundwater Program area shown in blue. When I enter this web-based mapping portal, and again, I'm in the public mapping portal in this case. When I enter this, there's locations shown here. There's little black circles with an eye in them. And that's what the focus of this video is. These locations that are shown here represent groundwater knowledge or insight that has been documented and stored within the database. So if we think about the turnover in staff, typically from retirement, some of these hydrogeologists, scientists, and engineers that have moved on, they contain a lot of wisdom and experience, and typically that knowledge is lost. So the ORMGP is now interviewing these retirees either before or soon after they retire, and they're asked what knowledge or information they want to pass on to the next generations of hydrogeologists and scientists and engineers into the future. And in this way, these nuggets of wisdom are preserved. The Oak Ridges Moraine Groundwater Program then has added a memo field to a database table to capture these hydrogeological stories. And I'm going to just show a couple of examples of how this information is saved and can be used when new studies are appearing in some of these areas. And I'm going to zoom in on this area north of the city of Toronto called Richmond Hill. And you can see there's a cluster of these locations in this area. And I'll click on one here. A little text pops up. This is depressurization for the York-Durham sewer system. So I'll just read that quickly. Within the community of Richmond Hill, the original YDSS installed in the late 70s ran along Elgin Mills Road and then south along Newkirk Road before continuing east along Major Mackenzie to meet up with the main trunk line at Bayview. At the time of the construction, the former municipal wells along Newkirk had been out of service for a year, and the water levels in the area had fully recovered within the Oak Ridges Moraine aquifer. So the municipal wells were reactivated during this construction project in order to control the artesian pressures. So that's an interesting little bit of information that might not appear in some of the reports that are in this area. Artesian conditions can happen in this area of the study, of the Oak Ridges Moraine study area. Here's another one. Richmond Hill Community Center relief well system. So I won't read this one in detail, but it shows a similar type of issue with artesian conditions and flowing wells and so on. The second example I want to do, I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. I'm going to go up here towards just west of Lake Simcoe. Right here on Horseshoe Valley Road, there's a flowing well catastrophe. And again, there's a lot of text in this particular location. In the late 2000s, 2008-9, there was a flowing well that was drilled by mistake, and it's called a catastrophe here because it ended up in the courts and with some lawsuits as well and property damage. So really, this information for consultants or researchers to come into our study area and say, okay, I want to do a sub-watershed study or some sort of planning study. I want to gather all the data, but I also want to see what else I might have to look for when I'm starting a study in a new area. So this kind of groundwater knowledge or groundwater insight data can really be useful in understanding what potential issues might exist in a new study. So that really summarizes what I think is a really unique feature of the Oak Ridges Moraine Groundwater Program. And if you have any questions or comments, you can contact us. Thanks for listening and for your interest in our program.